Актриса и учредитель фонда «Подари жизнь» Чулпан Хаматова покинула Россию.
Actress and foundation founder, Gift a Life, Chulpan Khamatova left Russia, and she explained this by the fact that, "I cannot call someone else's grief, someone else's pain, someone else's tragedy, a humanitarian catastrophe, something liberating. I cannot call the war some other words. I'm afraid to return, so as not to lose my conscience and myself." You know, in the autumn of 1945, the German pastor Martin Nemero visited Dachau, the concentration camp where he was imprisoned from 1941 to 1945. Then he said that, when they came for the communists, I did not mind, because I was not a communist. When they came for the Jews, I did not mind, because I was not a Jew. When they came for the union members, I did not mind, I was not a member of the union. When they came for me, there was no one to help me. You know, there are a lot of such people with clean hands, absolutely sincere, who cannot. They are afraid to get their conscience, soul, hands dirty. They are pure and sublime, and at the time, when they are afraid, and leave Russia, other people, who are not afraid to get dirty, help. I live in Sevastopol. Behind my wall live women who accept refugees, for free. They apologize for the fact that they did not complete the construction, did not finish the repair. I talk to neighbors. From these conversations I learn that people are collecting help. Things, clothes, money, and send it to Ukraine. I accidentally come across, because they recognize me with the management of the simple shopping center, and suddenly I find out what they send with their own money, also bought with humanitarian aid. With washing machines, with microwave ovens to Ukraine. Because Ukraine is also their land, and their people. Although they bloodlessly managed to get rid of all this horror in 2014, they were not afraid to get their hands dirty either. Thousands and thousands of refugees have already taken Crimea. No ads, just accepted for free. At the very time when other people, with clean souls, with clean hands, are the very ones who staged the Maidan, who burned Berkut, who killed Nigoyan and Sisnevskij, because neither the Belarusian nor the Armenian was sorry. The very ones who supported the executions of people in Mariupol on May 9, 2014. Today they have raised the price of housing for refugees in western Ukraine tenfold. We are told that it was impossible to start a war. For some reason, the Kiev regime has been telling everyone for 8 years that the war began, Indiana 2014. The same war that was staged by those who, let me remind you, the heads of the ministries of foreign affairs of Poland, France, Germany signed an agreement with Yanukovych. They guaranteed that the people from the Maidan would disperse and early elections would be held. Deceived our Western partners, then still partners. The very next day, power was seized by force and a massacre began. It started then. People in Kharkov were killed by Beletsky and those who became the backbone of the future Special Forces Regiment Azov on March 14. Everyone was killed, including the local policeman. He was not killed, he was only wounded in the neck. And the House of Trade Unions. It wasn't a war either. Only people were burned. And the center of Lugansk was bombed on June 2. It wasn't a war either. The war began when boilers appeared, when the north wind blew, and they did not let Lugansk and Donetsk be captured and razed to the ground. That's when they screamed that the Russians started the war. And they have been yelling this for 8 years, but at the same time, they do not declare war on Russia, because it is not profitable for them. They are launching .u on Melitopol, which has no military significance, to Berdyansk. But they also have white clean hands. In Melitopol, wrapped in yellow-blue flags, individuals trample on the humanitarian aid that has been sent. In those cities and towns where there had never been any Russian troops at all, who passed by and went on to fight on, They receive weapons, organize themselves into gangs, and begin shooting at passing columns, preferably unarmed or poorly guarded. Humanitarian cargo, fuel, no matter what. Like the so-called territorial defense, shooting at the Russian troops, and maybe not the troops, at whomever they have to. Returns home and hides machine guns in sheds. They talk about the fact that the Russians do not help them, that humanitarian aid does not come to their village. There is no light, heat, seed. And now, it is no longer our Western partners who help this. It's all already happened. Then people called you dogs, after all. You licked the shoes of the Germans. Shouted Heil with hoarse basses. Rovely not dead yet. From longing. Where you have passed, deserts and ruins. For the corpses there were not enough more holes. Spitting blood mum Ukraine. In your masters, right in the muzzle, to you. It's all already happened. But it won't happen again.
Это все уже было, но больше этого не будет.